Let me tell you something. Revolutions are nothing more than a bunch of men in one place. It's not women. It's men. If you put enough men on a city square pissed off, a revolution happens. That's what the people in charge of the world are afraid of. So to make sure there's no revolution, what they do is they construct as many divisions amongst the peasants as possible. They make sure the blacks hate the whites, the men hate the women, the Republicans hate the Democrats, and we're all so busy fighting with each other they can laugh from the top because there's not very many of them and there's a bunch of us. I'm telling you, the reason in countries like America, the reason the law is so destructive against men is very, very purposeful. They don't want you to feel like a king. They don't want you to feel powerful. You wake up amongst 3 bitches. If you have fucking 10 sons from 10 baby mamas, you're going to wake up and feel like the man. You ain't taking shit easy. If you wake up on your fucking 3rd year of a sexless marriage, paying taxes, and your kids don't even listen to you, you don't really feel like rebellion. You don't have it inside of you. This is why there's so much fucking male suicide. This is why men are so depressed. This is why everyone's so unhappy, because the life they try and create for men, the things they try and purport, the ideas they try and make us subscribe to are depressing. They want you as a tax slave. They want you as a tax slave. They want you in a sexless marriage with some old fat bitch who hates you. That's what they want. Afraid to leave because they'll take your house and destroy your life's work. And they want you to sit there and pay your taxes until you fucking die. This is all done on purpose. None of this is an accident. It's all very purposeful. And in countries which are not like this, in countries where men still have that masculine essence, in countries where they're still in control of their own household, when the government tries to become tyrannical, it's far more difficult to do because the men get together and say, you know what, women, clean the house. I'll be back in 2 hours. I'm going to tell these guys to get fucked. And that's the reality of it. This is a control mechanism along with everything else. Everything you see on TV, this is my final rant. Everything you see on TV is a control mechanism. All the shit they put on Netflix is a control mechanism. Telling you that you have mental problems you don't have is a control mechanism. Telling you, you can't focus on anything for 2 minutes because you have ADHD, or you're depressed and you can never fix it. They're trying to control you. They're trying to dampen your life force. Making sure your woman doesn't listen to you is a control mechanism. Making sure you can never leave her without being financially destroyed is a control mechanism. It's all control mechanisms, all of it from head to toe. You have to resist the slave mind. You have to look at it all and understand they are trying to make a slave of you. And when I say slave, I do not mean slave likely. I mean the word slave. They are printing money from the sky and you're giving up your life for it. If they can create something in unlimited amounts anytime they want, and you'll give up your life and time for that said thing, you are their slave. They don't need to use power and control and whips anymore. They just have the money print button. It's slavery. And they need to make sure that even if you know that, you don't feel powerful enough to do anything about it. All of this, every single thing about the modern world was deliberately constructed to get us to a point where they can come along and lock you in your house for something with a 99.9% survival rate, and you're going to sit there and take it like a bitch anyway. That's what all this shit is, including being in a position where you can't even tell your own woman she's not allowed out with her friends to get fucking drunk with a bunch of dudes, because you're not even allowed to do that. If a wife comes home and goes, I want to go out drinking tonight, you go, you're not fucking going nowhere. Oh, I want to go out with my friends from work. You're not going out with them men. That's coercive and controlling behavior. Bro, you can't even tell your bitch not to go get fucking drunk with dudes.
They'll call that abusive.
You're an abusive misogynist. You're Andrew Tate. Cancel him. It's insanity. And it's all done on purpose. I don't want anyone to sit here and think this is some accident we've arrived at, or that we're here now and it's no big deal. This is very, very purposeful, because when you destroy the warriors of a society, that's how you usher in slavery. First thing the Romans did when they conquered the Greeks is kill all the warriors, all the fighting age males. You leave the soy boys and the bitches, and then you can conquer it. Done. That's what they're doing to us. They're trying to destroy the warriors. So my G's, the ones who are left, don't worry about fucking some pussy. We got bigger fights coming up. We got bigger wars coming ahead of us. So if you want to fuck some pussy, go fuck it. Because I really believe the next 10 years are going to be difficult for men of stature. I really believe that. So that's my final speech.
Came here, delivered the sermon. I'm telling you, it's very few. And by the way, I see Myron over there. He knows he ain't never seen me this speechless and just taking in game ever.
The reason feminism is promoted, because it's a direct competitor to masculinity, right? The reason masculinity is directly attacked is very simple. Every single rebellion in history, every single revolution in history took place when men got pissed off and went to the streets. If you're the elites of the world, there's only a few of you, and there's a lot of very pissed off men. You have to make sure men don't realize I'm working for fucking nothing. They're forcing me to put a mask on. They closed my business. They've taken my travel away. If you wanted to do something like Corona, you need to destroy masculinity, absolutely. Think how many politicians got blasted for less. I mean it. Like, I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in just like, think how many bad things happened to whoever, rulers or whatever, for doing far less in terms of restricting freedom than Corona. How do you do it? You remove masculinity, and you do that specifically by taking one man, putting her with one woman, making it basically impossible for him to leave because he's going to face a financial downfall or destruction. Let him sit there in a sexless marriage with kids who don't really respect him, paying taxes until he dies. You have to remove the warrior spirit from men to control a society. If men still have warrior spirit, you can't control us en masse. Everyone's going to be like me, and we're all going to say no. You don't want that. You don't want men to say no. So this is the reason it's done. It's all done very, very purposefully. Don't think that, oh yeah, they're making me live, the society is trying to make me live a life I'm not happy with, and it's reducing my testosterone levels, and it's making me miserable. Why does it do that? It's all done absolutely and utterly on purpose. It's absolutely and utterly purposeful. It's purposeful. And that's how they control us. Because it's the men who are going to stand up and say no to things. But we don't stand up and say no. You know why? Because the wife will be mad if we're out late. No rebellions. Got to be home at 9. That's what it is.
Rob,
Simple as
we've
that.
got an Instagram boyfriend behind you in frame while we're talking about this shit.
But this is the reality of it. I understand completely why, as a government, they've come along and said, look, one man, one woman, sit there, even though they know it's not biologically normal. There's a few reasons for it, right? So we've got the first reason. Let's talk about the one man, one woman thing, where it came from. Because everyone knows it's not biologically normal. The human biological norm is that the top men have all the women and the lower men have no women. If you look at the history, if you actually look at the genes, something like 99% of females have reproduced since the dawn of human time. Only 23% of men have. So the point being that in the olden days, 23% of the men had 99% of the women. And that isn't necessarily a genetic thing, that's a power thing, that's a success thing, right? You can be a king, you ain't got to be something special, but you're the king. So you fuck all the girls, right? All those other dudes never got pussy. So the reason society's come along and say one man, one woman is for two reasons. One is because it destroys the spirit of the man, like we just discussed, to avoid rebellion. But two, when you have a whole bunch of men who don't get laid, they're dangerous. They're the people who are going to revolt. They're the people who are going to riot. They're the people who are going to commit crime. It's not good for society as a whole if all these men can't get laid. For a long time, we killed them off in wars and shit. But now everyone's living too long, right? So now we all exist. So it's like, all right, everyone needs a partner, and they sit there miserable with their partner and be too busy, too depressed, too sad, too self-absorbed, too selfish to worry about the bigger picture. So the reason men haven't marched on the street because of Corona is because they're too busy, upset and sad because their woman's being mean to them. That's literally it. It's also the reason they promote depression. Why do they promote mental illness at every corner? Because if you're so busy living inside your head, you don't give a fuck about what they do to you outside of your head. I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm anxious. I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm anxious. Poor me. Self-absorbed. If they self-absorb everybody, then we're not going to rebel. Why do the Western powers also promote diversity? If every single person who's inside of a city doesn't think the same or look the same or have any kind of common ideology, how can they rise up together? How can they all get together and band together against clear injustice? They won't. Well, he looks like that, he thinks this way. He looks like that, he thinks this way. Diversity, feminism, the matrimony, all this shit is deliberately designed to stop the men at the bottom realizing they're getting fucked and standing up and doing something. That's all it is. It's completely a plan. It's been put together and the elites have pulled it off fantastically.